How's it going, guys? It's Burgas here and welcome to another Heroes of History Epic Empire video. Today we're going to talk about the Odysseus. This is one of the new heroes presented in the game, and I think right now one of the easiest mistakes to make with a new hero is deciding whether they are good or bad before we even understand what they're actually designed to do. Every time a new hero gets released, the first thing most of us do is open the skill, look at the biggest damage numbers we can find, and immediately start comparing them to the strongest hero we already have. And when the hero is brand new, it's really tempting to look for a simple answer. Is this hero overpowered? Is this hero a meta? Is he worth the pulling? If he's going to replace someone in my team? But after reading through the Odysseus abilities a few times, I don't think that's the right conversation to have yet. One of the reasons I'm enjoying making those first impression videos is because they force me to slow down and actually think about what I'm looking at instead of rushing to conclusions. So if you enjoy looking at new heroes from different perspective, consider subscribing and leaving a like so we can keep figuring those things out together. The first thing that jumps out is obviously Verdict of Zeus. At level 1, it deals an enormous amount of lightning damage to the nerveless enemy hero. And once it's fully upgraded, that multiplier becomes even higher. That's the number almost everyone is going to notice first, because honestly, that's exactly where my eyes went. And that is the first impression I actually get from this brutal hero. That right now, at this moment, I'm going to get him for free. And I really enjoy when Heroes of History Epic Empire actually give us something, some heroes so we can play. And I strongly believe that Odysseus is going to be extremely valuable hero. Also, we're not having that much, we're not having that much single target damage dealers. And the first thing, what catch my eyes, I already have this bad boy right now, is actually, oh my god, okay, it's actually the damage he's doing. Deals 1000 lightning damage. This is at level 1, single target to the nerveless enemy, prioritizing heroes, and increase his attack speed by 70% for 4 seconds. On top of that, he's having something that a majority of the heroes that don't actually have, and this is passives. What I mean by that is those passive abilities. He's having skill ambush, increase his attack by 50%, and speed up his ability charge by 2%. Foul of Troy is also going to be good for him, increasing his attack and speed up of his ability. Now, other hero that was like this was actually Tutankhamun, who also have some passive skills, Anubis Awakening, and also this one, God King Transcendence. But anyway, this is the first impression I get from this hero, was that he's a single striker. I actually need some single striker, especially for the Tesla Storm. I need a lot. And the other thing is that he's ranged. So even though that he's a single striker, he's also ranged, which is going to at least reduce the chance he actually get killed faster. On top of that, since he's a range hero, the melee one, normally when they have to strike the nerveless, prioritizing heroes, when they have to strike heroes, normally the hero should be somewhere around him when this the ability get executed. But with the range one, you basically have pretty decent range to actually hit some heroes. So the majority of the cases, like, I don't know, maybe 99% from the times, this hero is going to hit other hero and not a troop, not some troop on the battlefield. The next thing that really stood out to me wasn't another damage multipliers, it was where the developers actually decide to give Odysseus some extra power. His passive abilities specifically mentioned skill ambush and fall of Troy, and in both of those modes, he gained additional attack while reducing his ability charge time by 2 seconds. At first, I thought those were just a little bonuses, but the more I look at them, the more I start thinking that this completely changed how this hero should be evaluated in these events. Because one of the things in Heroes of History Epic Empire is the ability charge. We're all looking for ability charge. If you go and check out the Awakening, the only thing that I'm looking here is at which stage of the awakening I'm going to have something like initial charge reduction or regular charge reduction, like we're having here for the Caesar. But here for this hero, something that make me huge impression is ability is reduced, the ability charge is reduced by 2 seconds, which is crazy because this ability is having initial charge 4 seconds, so it's going to go to 2 seconds, and regular charge is going to be 6 seconds. This is even more faster from Maria Curie, so this is going to be cold blood killer on the battlefield, especially in the school ambush, where also the attack get increased by 50% and speed up his ability charge. Yeah, this ability charge is maybe the most important thing here, because the attack is still very important, but if he manage by this reducing by these 2 seconds, by looking at the 8 seconds, this is like 24%, at the initial charge is like 50%. So regular charge is most likely what we're going to look here, because he's going to fire up that much so fast. It's going to be 25%. So every 4 hits for normal regular charge, in these events, he's going to execute five times his ability Verdict of Zeus. When a new damage hero gets released, I think most of us naturally focus on one question: how much damage can he do? That's the easiest thing to compare, because you can look at one number, put it next to the another hero number, and decide which one looks stronger. But after reading through Odysseus and Tarkid, I don't think raw damage is what makes him interesting. And I have experience with misjudging heroes, don't get me wrong. One of the heroes that I misjudged a lot was actually the Hercules. I was thinking this is maybe the biggest bad boy, especially when I saw his ability to have this crazy healing, like 1.6, close to 1.7 thousand percentage from his base damage. Also, doing some stunts and stuff like this. I was looking at this hero and was like, oh my god, this bad boy is looking crazy. But after a specific amount of time, I just start thinking that maybe it's not that strong, and after a lot of testings, I saw that he's basically till the mid-game hero. So Odysseus, even though that right now where everybody's are excited about him, definitely is going to need a lot of testings. Obviously testings in skill of ambush, fall of Troy, also testings in the normal campaignings, testings in the treasure hunt. In the arena, I think it's going to be very solid in the arena, especially with this initial charge and regular charge. This is very fast hero. It's basically like lightning, not gonna lie, it's like lightning. By the way, for the first time I see lightning damage, what is doing special ability damage that can be delivered as either single damage or area of effect damage. Okay, it's just basically just lightning. Whenever a legendary hero gets released, there's always that feeling that maybe this is the next must-have hero. I've been guilty of that myself. You see a new release, everyone starts talking about it, and suddenly it feels like you have to build them immediately before you even figure out where they actually can fit. It's the more I look at Odysseus, the less I felt that pressure. Instead, I start asking a different question. If I already have a strong roster, what role does this hero actually feel that someone else doesn't? And from everything I have seen so far, I think his answer is pretty clear. He looks like a hero built to dominate specific situations rather than trying to be amazing everywhere. So my plans for Odysseus, I already have him. I'm going to start actually level up him, but in general, my plan for this hero is going to be, I'm going to test him definitely for the arena. I think he's going to have a pretty decent results there. Now here is the thing with the arena. I already have Robin Hood. Now Robin Hood is very solid, also single striker, also range. But the thing with Robin Hood is like regular charge 12 seconds. The Odysseus is having like 8 seconds. I mean, and it's full damage. The Robin Hood is doing some small amount of damage, but the dots is what actually kill the target. Till the Odysseus is actually doing this damage. Now at level 40, the damage don't increase that much. It's like extra 480%, but attack speed for 100% for 4 seconds can basically attack speed with 100% is basically like 2 heroes hitting 1 target. So I'm going to also count on this, and again, it's like it's way more faster. The Robin Hood is like 12 seconds, an initial charge is 10 seconds, till Odysseus is like 4 seconds, getting this extra attack speed, and after 8 seconds is firing up again. I think I'm going to test him there, and maybe I'm going to save him for the treasure hunt. This is the other place I'm planning to test him for sure. For Tesla Storm, this is going to be the other place, and maybe some specific situations when there is a very solid tank that I really need to kill faster, or hero in the front lines that I really need to kill faster. I think Odysseus is going to have great advantage at this place in killing faster a target. That's actually one of the things I enjoyed the most about new hero releases. The first impressions is only the beginning, and over the next few weeks we will get to test different teams, different game modes, and see whether today's observations actually hold up. A huge thank to everybody who is part from my channel member, because your support give me the time to do testing instead of just making quick first look videos. If you do like to support the channel and be part from these future investigations, you can check out the membership below the video.